Unit 4 talked about emergence of issues, and this is actually really relevant in today's media landscape. So I hope you find this interesting. We'll talk about agenda setting, media priming, issue salience, issue management, and refinements to agenda setting, as well as agenda building versus intermedia agenda building and social media and all of that. So take a moment, maybe jot these down. What are the three most important issues facing our country today in rank of importance? I'll give you like 30 seconds to do that. Okay, so you might have a like somewhat of a difficult time with this, especially right now, because there are so many things going on in the nation. Um, so you might have said, I'm trying to think of current things. Well, I'll just leave it open for now, and then we'll get more into examples in a little while. So, the idea here is that media generally covers, especially news media, usually covers three most important things because that's how much generally people can consume and like retain. When we get this over flooded information, it creates chaos, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So that's kind of a caveat to this whole unit, really. Agenda setting is this theory that states media does not tell us what to think about, um, or excuse me, what to think, but does tell us what to think about. So it's not designed to tell us how to feel about certain issues, but it is telling us what issues are important and what issues we need to know about. There's no persuasion involved in agenda setting, or at least there's not supposed to be. So the definition of agenda setting is a transfer of issue salience from the media to consumers, you and me. We'll break down these terms a little bit further um, in terms of issue salience in just a moment. The more media covers a topic, the more important a topic is perceived to be by you and me. And this is media priming, and we'll talk about this a little bit more too. So if something's in the news that we all have access to, then we're all ideally going to view that issue as important. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other important issues that are not being covered. So that's an important takeaway too. Public agenda typically consists of 2 to 3 topics and rarely exceeds 4 to 5 topics. So you'll notice when you're listening to whatever news you listen to, whether it's a podcast or whatever it is, there's usually 2 to 3 topics. That's also somewhat different right now than it normally is. I know I follow like AP News on Instagram and NPR and things and different news sources on Instagram. Um, and like get emails and stuff, and they're consisting of a little bit more now, but in terms of your quiz in the class, this is historically true. So, and this is on your quiz. So 2 to 3 topics, generally speaking, and rarely exceeds 4 to 5. Agenda setting is not a persuasion theory, and this is really important. We'll talk about framing in the future, but how things are framed doesn't have anything to do with I mean, it does have something to do, but that's a separate theory than what agenda setting is stating, which is that just the existence of the topic increases issue salience for consumers. I'm going to pause right here and give you a moment to look at this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So this diagram you have on the left, gatekeepers and influential media, that leads to the media agenda, that leads to the public agenda, that leads to policy agenda. So ideally, or not ideally, but historically, this is how things have worked with news coverage. And on top of that, you see personal experience and interpersonal communication. And at the bottom of that, you see real world indicators of the importance of an agenda issue or event. So all those two factors go into all of these different boxes: media agenda, public agenda, and policy agenda. I'll pause here and talk about issue salience in the next video.